Hello students, how are you all doing? I hope you all are doing good. Students, in today's video we are going to continue the chapter Life Processes in Living Organisms Part 2, Sexual Reproduction in Human Beings. So we are going to focus how reproduction in human beings takes place. In the previous video we saw how sexual reproduction in plants take place and how flower acts as a reproductive organ of the plants. Here we have two different sexes, male and female, and the reason for that is a simple presence or absence of a chromosome. If XX chromosomes are present as sex chromosomes, then that particular person would be a female, and if XY sex chromosomes are present, then that person would be a male. That already we have studied in 9th standard, right? So just a recapitulation for all of you. All the reproductive system with specific organs in the body of male or a female is because of the presence of these sex chromosomes only. X chromosome is present in men, right? Whereas Y chromosome is present in men only. Whereas in women you have both the sex chromosomes as XX chromosome. Today we are going to talk about the structure and functions of human male reproductive as well as female reproductive system. Students, as you can see that the male reproductive system of human consists of a testis, right, which is enclosed in the scrotum. So there are two testicles here, and both the testicles will be connected with various ducts to a particular common urinogenital duct where it is ultimately connected with the penis, so that all the secretions of related to the reproductive system can move out through penis. Followed. Now these two testicles which are present in the scrotum, they are present outside the abdominal cavity, means outside the body, not internal. These testes are not internal organs, they will be outside the body. There will be various ducts which are connected with these testicles. For example, rete testis, vas efferens, epididymis, vas deferens, ejaculatory duct and urinogenital duct. Now what do we understand by duct? A duct is a pipe-like structure which helps in moving out the secretions from a particular organ to another, right? So these testicles are connected with several ducts. We will see what roles these ducts will play. Then various glands are present, for example seminal vesicle, prostrates gland and Cowper's gland. All these glands secrete something. All these glands have a very important role to play as they lead to the formation of semen. We will see how they lead to the formation of semen. All these organs, as you can see in the male reproductive system, like testis, epididymis, right, then vas deferens, seminal vesicle, they are all paired, means there are two of them, Cowper's gland. Followed, except urinogenital duct, prostrate gland, penis and scrotum. They are only one scrotum in which two testicles are there, one penis which helps in ejaculating the secretions of all these glands, and also the urine, prostrate gland which helps in secreting the sticky substance present in semen, also urinogenital duct which helps in passing these secretions to the penis. Followed, so all these are not paired. All the others like testicles, Cowper's gland, seminal vesicles, they are all paired. Followed. Now one more important point here I would like to say, that this duct, which is called as urinogenital duct, is called as so because the male reproductive system has a common passage for urine as well as for the semen. So both the urine as well as semen passes through a single duct. That is why it is called as urinogenital duct. It is a very important question asked in boards as well. Followed, student? So moving on to the next, these testes which are present in the scrotum. And where is scrotum present? It is outside the abdominal cavity, right? It is not present inside the body. These testes contains numerous seminiferous tubules. Now these tubules have the presence of germinal epithelium. These germinal epithelium will divide by a cell cycle which is called as meiosis, and ultimately this germinal epithelium will produce sperms. Followed? Two testicles are there. In the testicles, seminiferous tubules are there. These seminiferous tubules have the presence of germinal epithelium, right, which divide through meiotic division and produce sperms, because sperms are haploid. That is why the meiotic division. These sperms, through the various tubules and ducts, like as we already talked, vas efferens, deferens, rete-testis, epididymis, through all these ducts they will be sent and pushed to the seminal vesicles. Followed? Now as and when they are pushed from one duct to another, they become mature, and that is why they become able to fertilize the ovum. As soon as they are synthesized in the testis, they are not mature. They become mature as and when they pass through different tubules and ducts. Then seminal vesicles will secrete their secretions in the ejaculatory duct, as you can see. Prostate gland and Cowper's gland will also secrete their secretion in the urinogenital duct. Seminal vesicles are secreting their secretions in ejaculatory duct, and prostate's gland and Cowper's gland secrete their secretion in the urinogenital duct. Right? Now, as the sperms pass through the ducts, seminal vesicles pour their secretion, and as they pass along with that secretion, sperms will also move through the urinogenital duct, where Cowper's gland and prostate glands have also secreted their secretions, and ultimately this leads to the formation of semen. Correct? This semen will be ultimately ejaculated through penis after the process of copulation is done. Followed? Now, these surprising facts about the sperms, and male reproductive system, right? Length of each epididymis is about 6 meters. That is quite large. Length of sperm is about 60 micrometers. That's too small. Such a small sperm has to cross the distance of approximately 6.5 meters while passing out of male reproductive system. And that is why sperms need a lot of energy, because they have to swim. Followed? Even in the female's body, they will have to swim to make up to the egg. Correct? So they need a lot of energy, and for this purpose, semen is highly filled with fructose, which is a sugar. Correct? That provides energy for the movement of sperm. Also, sperms contain a lot of mitochondria, because mitochondria, as we already know, it is a powerhouse of cell. So in the sperms, the number of mitochondria present is very large. Followed, students? So that's all about male reproductive system. Moving on to the human female reproductive system. Now all the organs of the female reproductive system are in the abdominal cavity, unlike male's reproductive system. Now what it includes? It includes a pair of ovaries, as you can see in the diagram, single uterus and a vagina. A vagina is the opening to the female reproductive system. Followed, it is also the opening through which the menstrual blood is passed. Besides, a pair of Bartholin's gland is also present. Correct? As here you have Cowper's gland or bulbourethral gland in male reproductive system. Here we have Bartholin's gland which is present. Again, the secretions will lead to the formation of sticky fluid, which is very important for the process of copulation. Generally, every month an ovum, means the egg cell, female gamete, is released in the abdominal cavity alternatively from each ovary. Means if in the June month right ovary has released the egg, in the month of July left ovary would be releasing the egg. So it will be alternatively. Free end of oviduct, you can see just the ovary is having an oviduct, and the free end of the oviduct is funnel like. An opening is present at the center of it. Oocyte, that is the egg cell, enters the oviduct through that opening. Can you see? With the help of fimbriae, those finger like projections which you can see. So inside the ovary, the oocyte which is formed, it enters the oviduct through that particular opening. Right? It's because it has to go in the oviduct. Cilia are present on inner surface of oviduct. We have seen the cilia present in the respiratory tract also, right? Last year we saw that. Because of its upbeat movement, the dust particles are thrown out of the respiratory tract. Followed. So here also the cilia is present, but it has a different function. It pushes the oocyte towards the uterus. Means it will push the egg downwards in the uterus. Followed. So let's see the different functions of different organs of male and female both, right? Testis, which is present in male reproductive system, produces sperms and a hormone which is specific only to male, testosterone. Epididymis, where the sperms are matured and stored. Seminal vesicle, Cowper's gland and prostrate gland, produces seminal fluid which feeds the sperm and allows them to swim. Sperm and seminal fluid are collectively called as semen. This is very important. Urinogenital duct allows passage of either sperm or urine. Penis places sperm inside the body of a female. Scrotum keeps testes at lower temperature. The temperature of scrotum is quite low than the body temperature. Followed, students? And it is required for the proper formation of sperm and proper functioning of male reproductive system. Moving on to the female reproductive system's organs. Ovary, it produces egg, which is, or ovum, which is for singular, and ova for plural, and hormones like estrogen and progesterone. We'll be seeing what hormones can be produced, right, when we study menstrual cycle in detail. So estrogen and progesterone are the two hormones which are also produced by the ovary. Oviduct catches egg from ovary and transports it to uterus, which is the site of fertilization. Where will the fertilization take place? It will take place in the oviduct, okay? Uterus, site of implantation. Once the embryo is formed, it has to be implanted in the uterus. So it will hold the developing embryo, has a lining, this is very important, has a lining which is called as endometrium, which is enriched with blood vessels to nourish the embryo or to nourish the baby, right? Now, this lining is the endometrial lining is removed every month, and that is what is menstrual blood, which we call it as menstrual blood. We will be studying this in detail when we study menstrual cycle. Also, it leads to the formation of placenta. Now, placenta is the connection between the mother and the baby, which helps in transferring food from mother to the baby. Vagina, it allows entry of sperm and exit of baby at the time of birth. So it is very important, right? Moving on to the next, that is gamete formation. Both the gametes, that is sperm and ovum, are formed by meiosis, of course, because they are haploid and they need to have only one set of chromosomes. Means each sperm and ovum will have 23 chromosomes only. Sperms are produced in testes of men from beginning of maturation till death. At the time of birth, there are 2 to 4 million immature oocytes in the ovary of female fetus. An oocyte matures and released from ovary every month from beginning of maturity up to the age of menopause. Followed? So you can consider that in female's body, as soon as we are born, we have the immature oocytes present in the body. This oocyte will only become mature once we reach the puberty, and even after reaching puberty, every month only one oocyte will be released. In the rarest cases, 2 or 3 oocyte may be released in the rarest cases. Followed, this process will keep on going until we reach menopause. Whereas it is not so in case of male. In the case of male, sperms are produced in the testes at the beginning of maturation, and it keeps it is produced till death. Whereas in female, the life of egg is quite small, you can say the span is quite small, because it only can remain up till 45 years of age. Menopause is the stoppage of functioning of female reproductive system, means when the female stops getting the menstrual cycles, right? At the age of about 45 to 50 years, secretion of hormones controlling the functions of female reproductive system either stops or becomes irregular. This causes menopause. Now moving on to the next, that is fertilization. Formation of zygote. Now zygote is a cell which contains 2 nucleus, one of male, another will be of female. By union of sperm and ovum is called as fertilization. It is internal in humans. In some it may be external, like frogs have external fertilization, right? Semen is ejaculated in vagina during copulation. Sperms in the numbers of few millions start their journey by the root of vagina, uterus, then ultimately they will reach oviduct. We already saw that oviduct is the site of fertilization. One of those few million sperms fertilize the only ovum present in the oviduct. From the age of puberty up to the menopause, like from 10 to 17 years of age up to 45 to 50 years of age, an ovum is released every month from the ovary. That is, out of 2 to 4 million ova, approximately only 400 oocytes are released up to the age of menopause. Remaining will degenerate. I hope you followed. What happens? Formation of zygote takes place. Fertilization means union of sperm and ovum. Now where they will be fertilized? They will be fertilized in the female's body, right? So when the fertilization takes place, how it takes place? Once the sperms are released in the body of female, so from the vagina to the uterus, then to the oviduct, the sperms will make their journey. In the oviduct, they will fertilize an oocyte. which forms a zygote. Correct. This zygote will move through many stages like morula, which is 8 cell stage, then blastula, which is 16 to 32 cell stage, then gastrula, which is 32 to 64 cell stage, then an embryo, ball like structure embryo will be formed, which will be implanted in the uterus, and then this fetus will ultimately develop into a baby. Followed? If oocytes release from the ovaries during last few months nearing the age of menopause, right, that is approximately if the woman is 40 to 50 years old, now they have become quite old, so their ability to divide has been diminished till now. Due to this, they cannot complete their meiotic division properly. Now if such oocytes, if such women plans for a baby, the newborns may be having some abnormalities like Down syndrome. A photo of a child suffering from Down syndrome is shown. You have already studied genetic variations in last year, right? So I hope this is clear to everybody. Now moving on to the next topic, that is sex determination in human beings. How is it determined that a baby which is there inside the mother's body will be a male or a female? We already know that there are two types of chromosomes in body of a person, human body. Autosomes, which are 22 autosomes, right? If you take diploid cell, then it will be 44, correct? 44 body chromosomes and 2 sex chromosomes. These 2 sex chromosomes, if both of them are XX, then it would be a girl child, and if both of them are different, one sex chromosome is X and another one is Y, then it would be a male, correct? Now you can see that sperms can be of two types. One will be having X chromosome and another one will be having Y chromosome, whereas oocyte can be just having a genetic composition of 22 plus X. 22 are body chromosomes and X is the sex chromosome, correct? So ultimately it will be the sperm, which sperm fuses with the oocyte will decide the sex of a baby, correct? Now development and birth. The zygote, which is formed after fertilization in the oviduct, undergoes repeated mitotic division and embryo will be formed. It is pushed towards the uterus. Once it reaches uterus, it is implanted and further development occurs after implantation. An organ called as placenta is formed for supply of food material during the growth in uterus. Embryonic development is completed approximately within 9 months after fertilization. So you can see how a baby grows, how zygote is formed. Once zygote is formed, how an embryo is formed, then how it is implanted in the uterus, and then how it leads to the formation of a completely grown baby, right? Now once the baby grows completely, and the gestation period, which is 9 months. What is the gestation period of humans? 9 months, right? So after the 9 months, once the process is over, the baby will be pushed out through the uterus. Of course, that also takes place in the control of hormones, which we will look into it once we study menstrual cycle, right? I hope you have completely understood the topic well. If you have any doubts, you can just ask, okay? Thank you students for watching the video.